Hey everyone! Welcome back to Philomania. All my monsters and I are happy to see you again for another episode, and today we've got a little box to open. This one came straight from the United States. Alright, let's take a look. It's actually a pretty affordable knife from a very well-known brand, and that's exactly why I rushed to grab it. The designer behind it is a Hispanic-American maker who's been working in the US knife industry for years, and he's built quite a solid reputation. Here's a bit of promo stuff from Blade HQ with some Demco Razor Shark models, but that's not what we're here for. Let's check the box. Nothing else inside, just a tiny sticker. Okay, no extras. Let's get this out of the way. Wait a second. This feels way too light. Where the hell is the knife? I knew something was off. The moment I picked it up, the box felt almost empty. Damn it. They got me. The knife never arrived. The box did. Everything did. Except the damn knife. So yeah, this unboxing was kind of staged because I already knew what had happened. Here's the story. My freight forwarder, the company that handles my imports before shipping them down to Peru, always sends me video footage of what they receive. And in this case, the video clearly showed an empty box. So I contacted Blade HQ, the store that sold me the knife, and told them, hey, I got robbed. I sent them the footage, and they confirmed it. The box was sealed but completely empty. The skull-shaped pocket clip that was supposed to be here, gone. When I filed the claim, Blade HQ said, all right, we can send you another one if you want. And of course I said, yes, please. But they added, it's not going to be free. They gave me a 70% discount, and I bought it again. And this time, the knife actually arrived this one right here. Inside the box came the sticker, and most importantly, the knife itself safely tucked in its little pouch. And yes, here's that iconic skull pocket clip that got stolen back in Miami. Inside the box, as you can see, there are also a few stickers included. And honestly, it's weird. It's really weird to get robbed like that. This package came through USPS, and it's strange that something like this could even happen. I'm not saying the USPS driver stole it. I actually don't think so. It's more likely that Blade HQ accidentally shipped me an empty box. Why would that happen? No idea. Either way, it ended up costing me more than I expected. I had to pay for the knife again, plus about 30% extra, all because the first box, the original shipment, showed up completely empty. All right, let's get to the main thing, the knife itself. We'll check the rest later. As I mentioned before, I've already been using this one for a bit, so I can give you some first impressions. First off, the pocket clip that comes on this unit is the standard one, not the little skull clip that some people hate. Personally, I like it. We'll swap it out soon, but the point is, this is the brand new 2025 Chaves Redención model now fitted with the X-Lock. And no, the X-Lock isn't exactly groundbreaking. It's basically an Axis-style lock in the same vein as what Benchmade popularized, and many makers have adapted it. But this is Chaves' first stab at an X-Lock, and honestly, it's pretty sweet. You have to look at the detent. It's spot on. The blade sits right where it should, and with a light push, it snaps closed. That initial resistance is just right, very smooth, but also reassuringly secure. There's a tactile stop before it reaches the scales, so you don't accidentally nick your fingers when closing it, which I appreciate. Handling the X-Lock is extremely easy with one hand. Open, close, done. You can also flick it with the thumb studs. There's a stud on both sides, so it's fully ambidextrous. If you prefer, you can disengage the lock downward and deploy the blade that way too. A little wrist twist, and you've got this satisfying action that's oddly addictive. I'm honestly happy with this new knife, despite having to pay about $30 extra because of the earlier shipping drama. It's very pocketable light, easy to carry, and sports a pretty aggressive design. The blade is a clip point. It doesn't have a high belly, but it tapers into that clipped profile you'd expect from a clip point, giving it a slightly downward fall toward the tip. Here we have a flat grind that starts right from this line parallel to the jimping and runs all the way down. It's a true flat grind, meaning the surface goes straight down without any secondary bevels or convex transitions. Toward the back of the blade, there's also a flat portion. This whole area here is completely even. Then, up front, there's a small chamfer or bevel that helps thin out the stock a little bit toward the tip. That reduction in thickness makes it easier to pierce or puncture targets cleanly. The thinner the blade gets near the point, the better it performs for that kind of task. The finish is a stone wash. Pretty standard, but nicely executed gives it that rugged, working knife look. As for the steel, it's D2, not a high-end steel by today's standards, but a solid and practical choice. D2 is relatively easy to sharpen, as long as you're using a proper sharpening stone or one of those manual or electric systems made for knives. Now, part of what keeps the price down is that D2 isn't a true premium steel. It doesn't have the extreme edge retention or hardness of higher-end steels. That means you'll lose sharpness a bit faster over time, and if you don't take care of it, you might eventually see small spots of corrosion or pitting. Still, it's not a bad steel. It's tough enough for everyday cutting tasks, and with basic maintenance, it'll serve you well. Just remember, you're not getting a top-tier super steel here, but for the price and the way this knife is built, it's a fair trade-off. And of course, that explains the price. This knife comes in under $100, which for me is an incredible deal considering the quality and design. The shape that made Chaves famous in the US isn't about being flashy, it's about attitude. This knife looks aggressive, bold, and unapologetic. It's not a brand new design. The scales, the overall shape, and the blade profile are all classic Chaves. But as a whole, it comes together as a very utilitarian and mean-looking piece in a good way. It just has that "don't mess with me" presence. The jimping up here is, again, very aggressive. Sorry for repeating the word, but that's exactly what it is. The grooves are deep and sharp, which gives your thumb an excellent purchase point. Still, be careful. The corners are squared at about 90 degrees and quite sharp themselves, so if you slide your thumb along this jimping, you'll definitely feel it. Honestly, it's one of the most aggressive jimpings I've seen on any production knife, very much a Chaves signature. The handle scales, as I mentioned earlier, are made of black aluminum, which gives the knife a serious, understated look. It's completely matte, no reflection at all, and the texture is silky smooth to the touch. Not literally like silk, but close enough that it feels premium and refined. The jimping on the blade spine though, that thing is brutal. It locks your thumb in place, even though the handle itself doesn't have much texturing. So while the scales are smooth, the ergonomics and that jimping together keep your grip stable. Now, about the pocket clip originally, Chaves distributed this model with the well-known skull clip, the one that became an icon for the brand. Some users in the knife community didn't love it. They said it looked too playful and took away from the knife's seriousness. So Chaves started including the more neutral standard clip you see here and shipped the skull clip separately in the box. That move actually made collectors happy because now you could choose your side. There's a kind of split camp in the hobby, those who prefer the clean, serious look of the standard clip, and those, probably the majority, who love that rebellious skull clip. We'll install the skull clip in a bit. On the back, we have a back spacer, which seems to be aluminum as well. It feels light, consistent with the rest of the build. The pocket clip, though, is titanium, no doubt about that. But the back spacer, I'm pretty sure it's not. Anyway, I'll double check that later. I'm still not completely sure, but to me, it really feels like aluminum. The pivot uses a single screw, a Torx T8. Now, since I've been carrying and using this knife for a while, here's what I've noticed. As you keep putting it through work, the pivot tends to loosen up a bit over time. That's pretty normal. Eventually, the blade might start to lean slightly to one side. In my case, it was drifting a bit to the left. I adjusted the pivot, and now it sits perfectly centered again. There was also a tiny bit of side-to-side play in the blade after heavy use. Nothing dramatic, just what you'd expect from a knife that's actually being used, not sitting in a case. So overall, it's performing exactly as it should. If you want to keep the pivot tight for longer, just apply a drop of blue Loctite, not red, never red. Red Loctite will make it a nightmare to remove the screw later. It locks it down way too hard, and you'll risk stripping the head. The blue one is much more manageable. It gives enough resistance to hold the pivot firm, but you can still break it loose with normal torque when you need to. In short, use the blue thread locker, keep the pivot snug, and this knife will stay dialed in for a long time. That way, it won't come loose or shift as you keep using it opening and closing, flicking, flipping, whatever you do with it. I'm really happy with how solid it feels so far. Here you've got the body screws for assembly. These are Torx T6, both here and here. And like I mentioned earlier, the X-Lock system, as Chaves calls it, isn't something entirely new in the knife world. It's a proven locking design that's been around for years, but the way they executed it here is excellent. It feels sturdy, smooth, and the lock bars themselves are very comfortable to operate, not harsh or sharp on the fingers at all. Now, one classic Chaves trait still holds true. The corner on the bottom of the handle right here tends to be a bit of a weak spot for ergonomics. If you look closely, it's basically a sharp 90-degree angle, which can press into the palm slightly when you're gripping the knife. Not painful, just noticeable. It's been mentioned by a lot of reviewers, actually. Chaves has intentionally chosen not to round it off, because that blocky geometry, those clean, squared lines, are part of what gives the knife its unmistakable personality. It's what collectors love about the Redención line, that tough, squared aesthetic that screams, Chaves. So there's not much else to add if you came here just to see how the new X-Lock performs on the classic Redención. Here's my verdict. It's flawless. Exactly what I was hoping for. Smooth, secure, fully one-hand operable. No bounce, no blade play. The detent is perfectly tuned, it catches, stops, and closes beautifully. So, well done, Chaves. Another solid piece of work. And to wrap up this unusually long unboxing mostly because of the whole empty box story, I'm going to grab my toolkit and swap in the skull clip so you can see how it looks installed. Give me a second here. Alright, looks like these screws take a Torx T9 bit. Yeah, T9 fits perfectly. By the way, if you're curious, I'm using Weha bits, that's a German brand, really high quality. I don't remember the exact model number of this set, but if you take a screenshot and search for it on Amazon, you'll find it easily. There's actually a cool feature on Amazon. You can search by photo, and it'll tell you the exact model of this bit set, along with the current price whenever you're watching this video. If you're into knives or maintenance, this Weha bit set is a lifesaver compact, precise, and perfect for anything related to knife hardware. Alright, so here's the pocket clip. It comes with its own tiny screws, the same size as the ones already installed, but I'll use the new ones because, if you look closely, they come pre-coated with blue Loctite. See that little bit of blue right there? Not sure if the camera's focusing properly. Come on, focus. There we go. Anyway, you get the idea. Installation's super simple, just 2 screws, and you're done. And honestly, I've always liked Chaves' original skull clip concept. It gives the knife a bold, almost intimidating look, maybe even a little playful, or teenage, if you will. But let's be real. If you collect knives, there's gotta be a bit of that teenage spark left in your head. That's what hobbies are for, to make life a little more fun. So that's how we wrap up this unboxing, the Chaves Redención X-Lock, now rocking the skull pocket clip. Thank you all so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you're thinking of picking one up, here's the quick summary. The Chaves Redención aluminum handles, clip point blade, D2 steel, and all of it for under $100. You really don't have to overthink this one. Whether you're an experienced collector or just getting started, this is a great entry point, a knife designed by a maker whose high-end customs can easily go for over $1,000. But right now, thanks to a bit of luck and timing, you can grab this one for under $100. As of today, October 2025, this knife's only been out for maybe 2 or 3 months, tops. So if you're watching this around the holidays, treat yourself. Make it your Christmas gift. You deserve it. Start your knife collection with the Chaves Redención X-Lock. Alright, my friends, that's all for today. All my monsters and I thank you for watching till the very end. Take care of yourselves. Peace. See you next time.